decision to pause the fresh military strikes on Iran. Just a day after announcing the pause on social media, Trump has said that he wants to avoid further bloodshed and prevent the war from escalation. He also revealed that Saudi Arabia's king and crown prince has encouraged a diplomatic approach instead of military action, and a warning of consequences of any further escalation. Trump has said that a wider conflict could trigger a regional crisis, forcing more people to flee their homes and further destabilize the region. So that is the latest, a day after Donald Trump announced the pause on fresh military strikes on Iran. He has defended the move, saying that, in fact, he wants to avoid further bloodshed and prevent the war from further escalation. All right, so that is the latest as far as Donald Trump is concerned. Remember, yesterday he took to social media revealing that he has paused the fresh strikes on Iran. But he had said that that comes with a condition that there will be a reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. But at this point in time, we are learning that he has defended his decision to pause those strikes, saying that he wants to avoid any further bloodshed. Mayank is joining us live on the broadcast with more details. Mayank, can you help us understand what's behind President Donald Trump's decision to hold back military action against Iran? And has this in any way changed the situation on the ground when it comes to war in West Asia?
Akansha, interestingly, nothing has changed right from the beginning as for the goals of this war is concerned. And for the immediate Strait of Hormuz remains the basic focus. And on that, nothing has happened since the second leg of the war has started. What I mean to say is actually, when US had been claiming that Strait of Hormuz is open for all kind of movement of vessels, it has not taken place since then. And now, even after conducting second leg of attacks and using military power on various establishments or locations within Iran, nothing has happened even after that. So it is interestingly, now Saudi Arabia is being said to have led the talk between, with the US, saying that diplomacy should be taking precedence over the kind of attacks which are taking place, because reports are also saying that there is a sort of frustration amongst the nations which are surrounding Strait of Hormuz. So nothing as of now has happened, and even President Trump has come out saying that their diplomacy should be taking precedence because that would otherwise use of hard power, military power would lead to life, and this is what he doesn't want. And that's a better way actually, and let us hope that something happens and this the use of hard military power stops there, because talks would lead to some kind of a agreement and middle ground between the two nations.
Absolutely. But the highlight is that Trump has said that there will be no further attacks on Iran. And most importantly, that the talks with Iran will be starting today. So it remains to be seen how that really pans out. And that is coming from the Gulf countries, because a report has stated that some Gulf countries are worried about the ongoing tensions with Iran. They fear that they could become the targets of the conflict as the conflict will grow. And they have asked the US for more protection and support. And remember, this comes after, in fact, in the last few months, we have seen how the Gulf countries have come under multiple attacks, and the report has said that UAE now wants a stronger response against Iran, while Saudi Arabia is pushing for talks and peaceful solution. It also says that President Donald Trump paused planned strikes after there was some progress in the talks over the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. And meanwhile, efforts to bring the ceasefire between US and Iran also continues. But this is quite important, as a report has stated that some of the Gulf countries are quite worried about the ongoing tensions with Iran. Mayank, coming back to you in this, what are the concerns that have been raised by the Gulf countries, especially when it comes to UAE and Saudi Arabia? Because when it comes to Kuwait, Bahrain and other countries, we have seen multiple attacks on them in the last 1 month. What is UAE and Saudi Arabia? What do they have to say on this?
Akansha, whatever the projectiles were launched by Iran, whichever they were, in form of missile or in form of drones, they were falling on geography, territorial confines of the countries which are around Strait of Hormuz. Thus, the destruction ultimately was leading the destruction was hurting these nations. And as you have brought out, UAE is the only nation which wants that the hard power military actions should continue and they should become even stronger. Whereas the other countries, since last 1 week, what has happened is that there were talks that US would start destroying the even civilians infrastructure, and Iran had come out statements saying that they would also start targeting the places which are used for energy production. and further in other way. I mean, to signify that point, I need to bring out for the viewers that in the beginning, there was some kind of attacks taking place on the water desalination plants, and that had created a cause and a major worry amongst the Gulf nations. This is also a major worry because ultimately the destructions are taking place within these nations. Thus, it would be good for everyone in that case that some kind of peace prevails, some kind of mediation is done, and nations come to tables to talk to each other and come down to some kind of agreement on multiple conditions there are. And as of now, Strait of Hormuz is the main requirement that smooth movement starts taking place in Strait of Hormuz, Akansha.
Absolutely. And the Gulf countries have asked the United States for more protection and support in the coming days as well. Stay on with us, Mayank. I'll come back to you once again.